You want a 1%er car? You're going to get 1%er repair prices whether you like it or not. Let's get started. This is a 2018 Bentley Flying Spur. It is the four-door version of a Continental. And this is a 2013 Maserati Gran Turismo convertible. Between these two cars, there's 5 parts that need to be replaced. And combined, it's $15,000. I get emails once in a while. Somebody sends me a picture of an 04 and 05 Bentley for 25 grand or 30 grand. I think I can pull it together and buy this car. Or maybe a Maserati Gran Turismo on Facebook Marketplace for 15, 20 grand. It's got lots of problems. I could buy this and in a couple grand into it, I'll be in business. I'll have a cool car. Wrong. The values drop on these as they get older dramatically, but not the repair prices. They're the same as they were when these cars were brand new. Just because the value of this car or that car drops doesn't mean the parts values dropped. Absolutely not. It doesn't even drop 1%. It's the same as it when it was new. Just recently we had a 2004 Bentley that a customer had in the local area. They bought it knowingly as a Florida flood car, which is a big red flag. I would never buy a Florida flood car. But he paid $30,000 for it, and he got it delivered. It arrived, and all the modules in the car were just fried from salt water. They wouldn't even turn on. The security system was engaged, and it wouldn't even allow the power to turn on. It was so far gone. I explained to him, I said, it'll probably take another 20 or 30 grand to sort this car out. You can go buy a literal whole other Bentley for that much money. There's no reason to put the kind of money into an old 04 Bentley. He agreed, and we actually sold that car to J&J Auto Wrecking in Marshallville, Ohio. But the customer made a statement before he left. He said, "Car Wizard, I lost my absolute ass on this car." I said, "I know, I try to tell people. If you have money to buy one of these, you should buy one like this customer did, 2018, 2019, 2020. If you're buying an 04, it better be fully certified, gone through like a fine-tooth comb, because you're going to get severely, severely bankrupted by trying to get it fixed." And speaking of really high costs, if you ever find yourself in a really sticky financial situation, I do have the solution for you right here. I remember when Mrs. Wizard and I opened our first shop in 2012. It was quite a leap of faith with me quitting a good-paying job and relying on her teaching salary until I could get the shop established. One thing we didn't fully expect when starting the business was the overhead and all the equipment that was needed. I had a lot of tools, but I didn't have everything required to operate a full-time shop. We had to get some items on credit and start the monthly payment cycle. We were able to keep ahead of the payments and pay off those bills, but if there would have been a slow month or two, we'd have been in serious trouble. Have you found yourself in an unexpected financial situation, either with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills? Today's video is sponsored by PDS Debt. They have tailored solutions for everyone with over $10,000 of eligible debt. PDS Debt understands debt and strives to help you with your specific scenario. They can provide alternative solutions and help you manage your payments so ultimately you become debt-free. Don't let debt ruin your life. Stop waiting and start saving. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/carwizard. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/carwizard. That link is in the description below, and there it is on the screen. That's again pdsdebt.com/carwizard. Now back to this Bentley. Why is it here? It's here because the front end, like we all know, these have full air suspension all the way around. The front end would droop after a couple of hours. It would be really low in the front, but fine in the back. The customer was hoping maybe it's just a check valve or a little tiny pinhole somewhere that's cheap to fix and be back on the road. But Danielson took a look at it, and he actually got soapy water, which is a very easy way to check for leaks. And this is what he found. There's a little video clip there showing air bubbles coming out of the actual internal portions of the strut. It's a very common problem on the newer 2018s, 19s, 2020 Bentleys, Continentals, and Flying Spurs, and it is stupid expensive. Here's actually a picture from Flying Spurs where we get our parts. $3,000. Not for two, for one strut. $3,000. $3,000. And then the labor, about 2 hours per side, you can be to $7,000, $8,000 after sales tax and everything. $7 or $8 grand for two struts. Also, if you look at this picture again, the same picture I just showed you, it says at the bottom, current supply issue. These are failing so much they can't even keep up. So even if this customer had agreed to the $3,000 per strut, I can't even buy one. They're not there. Luckily, there's a few companies that are kind of getting wind of this situation, and they're offering rebuild services. It's happening so much that they actually see that they could turn a profit fixing these struts. This isn't a new idea. There's rebuild services for all kinds of things on every car. It's just that when you get into Bentleys and Ferraris and Lamborghinis, you might have onesies and twosies, part fail here or there. It doesn't make sense to tool up an entire factory to rebuild two struts. You need to have 100 or 500 of them. So you can, at the end, you can actually start making money. And that is happening on these. We were able to get remanufactured ones that have updates and upgrades to solve the original issues for less than half the cost of the new ones. So these are already installed. It's been sitting for about a day and a half now, and it hasn't even lowered 1 inch. Problem is solved. And it cost the customer $3,000, not $7,000. So really save this customer a lot of money. But still, most people would have a heart attack if you said, I need two front struts, it's going to be $3,000. They'd be like, oh hell no, park my car outside. But that's the name of the game when you have a Bentley or a Rolls or a Ferrari or something. To get that $3,000 price though, I do have to send the old ones back. They are charging me $500 core charge if I don't send them back. So definitely the customer does not get to keep their old parts. Unless they want to pay the $500, then they can have them. Most people don't. So they'll be going back to the rebuilder so they can fix the problems that the original ones had and solve this problem for the next person. So that's really all that we had on the Bentley. The problem's actually solved. We'll be calling the customer soon and they can pick up their vehicle, and it is now not drooping anymore. But I just wanted to let you guys know how with OEM level, because there are customers that say on these cars only OEM, nothing else allowed. It could have been $7,000 for two struts. Let's move on to the Maserati. This is a 2013 Maserati Gran Turismo, and for many years, and in fact this engine shared a lot of parts and actually design characteristics with Ferrari. If you see on the bottom quarter panel, it actually says that the body was designed by the same company that designs bodies for Ferrari, Pininfarina. These are really cool cars. Mrs. Wizard has a Maserati as well. It's just that when they break, as you can imagine, it's not get out your pocketbook, it's get out 5 pocketbooks. It's really, really expensive. There are some parts on Maseratis that it's as if you're working on a Ferrari. You might as well be. It's that level of repair costs. This one came in with a convertible top. It was in the fully closed position. It just wouldn't move. It wouldn't do anything. And there is a procedure to manually open this, but somebody has already been in there and tried to fix this or tried to do something with it, and they made the situation worse. They actually cost themselves double the amount of money if they would have just left it alone and brought it to us in the first place. Because the procedure with a little kind of a turn handle to get this to unlatch and allow you to move the top down, that was stripped out and broken. Danielson had to spend 6 hours disassembling the header of the convertible top right here where it latches to the windshield to be able to get in there so we can manually unlatch it and get the thing to actually open and close. The problems with this convertible top, after we did some digging and did some testing, after spending 6 hours getting it to open, there's nothing wrong with it back here. It all works perfectly fine. It's just that the parts right here where it latches are broken. I'll go ahead and partially get the procedure to start opening this up. That way we can take a peek in there and show you. You might pick one of these up for 15 or 20 grand, but you'll spend that much again, or more, sorting it out. You really can't win on these upper level cars by buying them cheap on Marketplace and fixing them up. It rarely ever works out. And this video is for you guys to let you know so that you don't make that mistake and then get stuck like the story I told you of the old junky Bentley that was here. The guy lost his tail end. All right, let's get this opened up. So when this thing was in the latch position, Danielson had this cover in the way that goes right here. He had to sneak in there and be able to barely just pry this open just enough so he can get in there and get his fingers in there and get things to unlatch and make it work. It has tons of fingerprints and marks all over it that the previous person did. That's how I knew somebody's been in here. There's fingerprints and all kind of stuff. They tried to fix it and they made it really worse. Once we got it open, we could actually remove this panel, which again took 6 hours to get to this point. We can see here's the actual motor that operates these little cables. It turns them like a speedometer cable. So here's the hole right here that you put in the special little wrench, which, by the way, there's a hole right here just for this purpose. So you can get in there with that special tool and turn this little Allen-shaped bolt. It looks like a bolt. It would manually operate the gears in here and undo these latches right here. But when Danielson put it in there and started turning it, the teeth are all stripped out. It just goes click, 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 click. Somebody got in there and just cranked it so hard in the wrong direction, they broke the teeth inside of it. So this motor is shot. Then we got to looking and said, okay, we may just need a motor, and Danielson said, no, no, no. Take a look at the plastic on here, Wizard. You can see a crack developing here and also going through here. This is about to separate in two. And there you can see, obviously, it is completely cracked in two right through there. When you do operate this, this thing moves back and forth, but it doesn't actually actuate the latch because it's cracked in half and broken in half. All three of these components are shattered or stripped and broken. The rest of the top works fine, the hydraulics work fine, we've gone up and down with it, it's happy. Just these three items are destroyed. They're unrepairable. It would probably cost more than the part is new to repair them. But even at that, Maserati price, guys, 1%er prices, this latch, just this latch, is $1,500. This little motor is $1,000. And the other latch is another $1,500. $4,000. And we haven't calculated any labor. That's not for free. Which brings up another thing I'll mention real quick. I actually had an email from a guy who said I would like to have an engine replaced in his Camaro. I said, okay, good, this is how much it's going to cost. He said, but I can get a motor for $6 grand. Why are you charging that much? Did you calculate the 22 hours in labor at $150 an hour? Then he emailed me back, oh my God, I completely spaced that off. Yes, there's labor. The parts price is not the complete job. So $4,000, and then he has 6 hours in trying to get this thing open because they broke it. And then we'll have, I don't know how many hours, 2, 3, 4, getting this all back together, getting it to recalibrate, to make it sure it's happy. It could be as much as 10 hours. It should be only 5 or 6, but it's going to be 10 because, like I said, they broke it. At $200 an hour. That's $2 grand. So before the accountants out there catch me in my numbers, the $150 an hour just mentioned is for a domestic Camaro. The $200 an hour is for exotics. Maseratis are exotics. So are Ferraris, Bentleys, and all these. I can definitely claim this as an exotic because we take in tons of these Maseratis that they've been to other shops and the owners are like, hell no, I'm not touching that. Guess why? Because it's exotic. It's not even European, it's above that. So, $6,000 to fix 3 items in this top. We're still waiting on the customer to see what they're going to do. They may have us just get it to latch back up and he's going to say, forget it, I'm not going to do it. I don't know what they're going to do. Hopefully they'll let us fix it because we're this far into it. We have 6 hours of labor whether we fix it or not. So there could be an argument made, why don't you just convert this to manual operation where some of the cars you can just manually open and close it. These are very, very complex. There's cylinders and latches and all kinds of different solenoids and things that don't release until electrically they're at a certain point. You can't just manually force it and get it into there. There are cars that you can manually do, like Mrs. Wizard's old Z3. The power portion of this convertible top failed a while back, a long time ago. But it doesn't make sense to repair it and put the hundreds or thousands into it, because you literally can just do this and latch it in inside and you're done. And then you can unlatch it, and why would you spend $3 grand to fix that? But that's not the case on the Maserati. Now the argument also can be made on this Maserati, oh, I know a guy that can do it cheaper. The cheaper guys already worked on this. Now we're having to go behind it and spend even more time than it should take to fix it. So did they save money? Not a dime. They lost money. One thing that I've learned in 25 years of working on cars, I don't care what brand it is, the convertible top always breaks. They always break, and it's thousands to fix them. There's nobody that has 400,000 miles on a convertible and says the top works perfectly and it's never broke. They all break. If you're going to have a convertible, it's going to be outside, nice weather only type of a car, put the top down and leave it down. Put a car cover over it when you're not driving it. That way you decrease the risk of something breaking constantly open and close every time you get in it. Or if you're only going to put the top down once or twice a year, leave it up all the rest of the time. Don't mess with it all the time. That's kind of how you can keep it lasting as long as it can, but it's going to break eventually. If you're the type of the person that says life's too short to drive boring cars, and you want to drive these types of cars, kudos, I'm glad. Make sure you get a savings account. Start putting money away before you buy the car. Because it is not unheard of, once you buy one of these, to initially have to dump 10 grand into it to go through all the little things that you're going to find that are wrong. They are very complex. These cars, when they're new, are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. And they have 10 times the technology and modules and all kinds of features that a Camry does. And one of those things at some point is going to break. So I just wanted to do this video with you guys because I get emails, hey, I'm looking at this old Bentley, I'm looking at this old Rolls, or I got $2 grand saved up to fix it up. It's not going to happen, guys. It's not. So I'm trying to save you guys from having your significant other murder you while you're sleeping.
Wizard, I have never wanted to murder you while you were sleeping.
No, but there can be some people that lose it over $50,000 lost. Trust me, guys, I get tons of emails about this stuff. That's why I did this video. $15,000 for 2 struts and 3 convertible parts. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on both of these, Danielson actually used, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. Most of the tools that we use in the shop are for sale there. We get a small cut if you purchase anything. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have tons more cool cars in the shop, which means more videos for you guys. Thanks for watching.